I'm going to destroy this GoPro. This is my old GoPro Hero 11. It is in good condition. There's just a little chip here on the lens cover, a few chips in the glass, but besides for that, it is in good condition, but it's not gonna stay that way for much longer. You know, action cameras, are tough, but I want to find out exactly how tough they are. So I have a series of challenges planned for this GoPro, and we're going to see how long it lasts. The first test is something I call the ice block challenge. I'm going to take the GoPro, freeze it in a block of ice. If it survives that, the next challenge is the whirlpool. I'm going to throw it in my whirlpool washing machine. If it survives that, it's going to be the drag race. I'm going to drag this behind my bike through the rocks in the dirt. If it survives that, the next challenge is called roadkill, where I'm going to run it over with my 37-inch mud terrain tires. And if it can make it through all four of those challenges, the last one is called the drop, where I'm going to drop it from 400 feet in the air and see if it survives. GoPros are waterproof and they can operate in temperatures below zero, but can they be frozen and de-thawed and still work? About to find the answer to that question right now. I purchased this huge ice cube mold. Gonna throw the GoPro in there and fill it up with water. It's been 24 hours, so hopefully the ice cube is frozen solid. Let's check it out. It looks like it's frozen solid. I can kind of see it down in there. Oh yeah, I can see it in there. Barely. Now we just need to figure out how to get it out of that ice. Well, that started to crack the ice, but I could still tell it was gonna take forever. I think I have a better idea. Got my safety glasses on, a hammer. It looks like it's in one piece, still got some ice chunks on here. Okay, it's not turning on. Maybe it needs a little bit to kind of warm up, so I will leave it out here to warm up in the sun, and we're gonna give it another shot to see if it's gonna turn on or not. I've given the GoPro some time to warm up, so let's see if it's gonna turn on now. Still not working, but I think I have another thing to try. The cold probably could have just killed the battery, so I am going to try charging the battery and see if that gets it to work. I charged the GoPro for a little bit, so now we'll see if it's really going to work or not. Okay, it still works. So now you know if you ever lose your GoPro in a frozen lake, you can come back during the spring thaw and it's going to work. Now for the next test. The next challenge here is the whirlpool. The GoPro is going to go into the washing machine to see if it can survive, so we can get some double duty here, get this test done, and also do some laundry. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the cycle there. To spice it up, we'll use hot water, and we're going to see if it's going to work afterwards. We'll see how it does. The washing machine is done. I could hear the camera banging around in there. Let's see if it survived. Looks in pretty good shape here. Looks like I can see some moisture behind the lens guard here. Yeah, there's some moisture in there, but everything looks to be in good shape. Let's see if it's gonna turn on. Yep, turned on. We're in good shape. I'm glad I survived the first two. Those are just a warm up for the real deal challenges that are coming next. This next challenge is really going to test the limits of the GoPro. I call this one drag race. You can see here I have tied the GoPro to the back of my bike here, and I am going to drag it through this lot here, through the gravel and the rocks. We're gonna see how it does. I don't imagine it's going to do any real significant body damage to the camera, but I am curious if it's going to scratch up either the front or rear screen or the lens cover. So let's see what happens. Let's check out the damage. It's definitely dusty. There are some pretty good scratches right here on the front screen. The lens cover is halfway off. There's some pretty good scratches in that. But here on the back is where we're really starting to see the damage. The screen is actually cracked. So you can see it right there, right here, right here. I was really surprised about the amount of damage the GoPro took from being dragged like that. I expected scratches, but I was shocked to see that the screen actually cracked. So finally starting to see some damage to this thing. Next, we have a challenge called Roadkill, where I'm going to run over the GoPro with my 37-inch mud terrain tires on my Jeep here. It's go time. Let's see if it's gonna survive. So let's see how it goes. Ooh, I can tell that the lens cover is destroyed. For good measure, let's go ahead and back over it. Let's see here. I know the lens cover is destroyed, but I think the camera might be in pretty good shape. I didn't hear like any big cracks or pops or anything. Let's check it out. After I picked it up, I realized, yeah, there is some significant damage to the lenses. I'll show you that now. Front lens cover is completely destroyed. The glass is completely broken, but it looks like the camera lens itself is actually in good shape, and the front touchscreen doesn't have any more scratches than it did before. And here, when we look at the back, this is where all the damage is. That screen is unsavable. You can see here the rocks went all the way through. You can see behind it, and so this is officially a lost cause. But the body itself is working. Let's see if things gonna turn on. Yeah, it turned on. The front screen is working, so it's surviving, kinda. This last challenge is the one I've been most excited about. I call it the drop. I have the GoPro here tied to the string, and the string is tied to this release system here. And what happens is when I push the button on here, the string is released, and the GoPro will fall 400 feet to the ground, and we'll see what happens. It's time for takeoff. It's at 400 feet. Let's see what happens. Definitely do not attempt dropping the GoPro from that height. There's definitely some risk involved with that. I'm out here in this huge parking lot, and there was no one around, so there wasn't any chance of anybody getting hurt. But when it's up that high with the wind, you don't really know where the camera is going to fall. So it's a possibility if you release it, it can fall and like hit you in your head or fall in your car and damage it if you're not careful. So let's check out the damage here. The screen came completely off. It is 100% shattered. It bounced off when it hit the ground. The lens cover is hasn't changed at all, so that's in good shape. The front touchscreen is not any more damaged than it was before. The folding fingers are in good shape. So we've seen the damage here, but the real question is, will it turn on? Oh yeah, it turned on. It's saying there's no SD card. There's an SD card in there. Maybe if I turn it off and turn it back on. So they turn it back on, see if it's going to pick up the SD card. Well, it's turned on, but it's not recognizing the SD card. You can see the little icon there. It's in there, Maybe if I take the battery fully out. Try this again. That's still not reading the SD card. I'm really curious if this footage came out. Get back home, put it at the computer, and see if we got anything. The GoPro was able to take some punishment. It made it through the Icebox Challenge unharmed, made it through the Whirlpool unharmed. Drag race, that's when things started to get a little rough. So there was scratches to the front screen. The rear touch screen had some scratches and started to see some cracks in it, but it survived. Roadkill, that's when the damage really started. The front lens cover destroyed, the rear touch screen destroyed, but the camera still worked. And the final one, the drop, that was a wrap for the GoPro. Falling from that height, the rear touchscreen completely disconnected. Everything else seemed in pretty good order. I'm gonna see if any of that footage survived the fall. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any footage off of the SD card that was in the GoPro. I think the fall must have damaged the SD card itself because it wouldn't read. I put it in other devices, it wouldn't read.